Very little is currently known about the Eon the Trailblazers venerate, Akavili. All we know is that at some point, Akavili decided to venture beyond their planet of origin in search of the very edges of the universe. Through their path, they encouraged humanity to explore the vastness of the cosmos and even brought some of them along on their journey. Akavili and the Nameless are one of the reasons the universe is as explored and as connected as it is today, which then kind of got me thinking. All this exploration, which led to humanity proliferating across the universe and becoming more connected, kind of reminded me of something I had heard before, the Golden Path in Dune. Which then made me wonder, was Akavili really just exploring things, or were they actually preparing humanity for a future that has yet to come, much like Paul Atreides and his son? So in this video, I'm going to forcibly merge the lore of two different universes and see if Akavili was really saving humanity rather than just going on an extended vacation. Before we get into that though, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Let me first clarify something. I'm not trying to start a discussion on which story or universe is better here. I personally like them both, and the idea that they could have similarity just intrigues me. That's really where this video is coming from, so don't take it too seriously. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Dune, I have to first explain what the Golden Path is. This idea is not a simple one and spans several books, thousands of years, and the lifetimes of more than one person within the story of Dune. Even if you are familiar with the recent movies, which are fantastic by the way, the lore contained within those two movies barely even mentions the Golden Path. So bear with me as I briefly talk about Dune in the first half of this video. Also, massive spoilers for Dune's entire story. In the Dune universe, humanity relies heavily on a perception-enhancing substance referred to as the spice melange, or simply spice. Spice has the ability to awaken certain parts of the human mind and expand their sensory perceptions to a great degree. At higher doses, it allows an individual to achieve prescience, essentially allowing them to see the future. The civilizations of Dune rely more on biological advancement rather than technological due to an event in their past referred to as the Butlerian Jihad. Essentially, humanity used to rely on technologies such as AI and machines, but as with most sci-fi stories, there was an AI uprising. So they did away with all the robots and thinking machines and focused more on humanity's own abilities. Different factions would use the prescient granting abilities of spies to achieve different things. Space navigators, for example, would use it to chart space travel, while others became living computers. One such group was the Bene Gesserit, who used a combination of selective breeding, spice, and mental training to essentially create humanity's ultimate leader, someone they referred to as the Kwisatz Haderach. This individual would have the ability to not only see the future, but also the entirety of their ancestral past. They would then use all their past experience and future sight to essentially lead humanity into a prosperous future. The path to this prosperous future is what is referred to as the Golden Path. Now, there is a huge amount of detail that I am omitting here, like the true goals of the Bene Gesserit, the true Kwisatz Haderach, and a bunch of other things, but for this video, we will have to fast forward to the end of Dune's story. Basically, the main protagonist of the story, Paul Atreides, who is kinda the Kwisatz Haderach but not really, realizes what this Golden Path is and the innumerable sacrifices that has to be made in order to achieve it. Unable to follow it to its conclusion, his son, the true Kwisatz Haderach, Leto Atreides II, takes up the role and eventually completes it. To put it simply, Leto sees so far into the future that he realizes for humanity to survive any potential threat, they must expand beyond the boundaries of their known universe. In their current state, any humanity-wiping event can easily destroy the human empire, despite them numbering in the trillions, because they populate a very specific part of the universe. So Leto's plan is essentially this. He becomes a super control freak of a dictator and forces the trillions of people to follow tons of strict rules. The idea is that when he eventually dies, people over the generations would have built up such a distaste for a centralized government that they would on their own spread out across the cosmos. This would ensure humanity's survival, and that's essentially what happens. Leto institutes a bunch of rules, commands the empire for thousands of years, and forces people to crave freedom and exploration. When he dies, there is a massive movement of humans spreading out across every direction possible. In doing so, Leto has achieved the golden path for humanity. Now, let me remind you, this is a very simplified version of the story, and there is a lot of other details missing in this summary. If this makes you curious at all, I really suggest you give the Dune series a try or check out the many content creators who have covered this topic in far more detail. Okay, if you're still with me and have not yet seen through my lie of using Star Rail to talk about Dune, what has this so-called golden path have to do with Akavili? Well, all we know about this prolific eon is that they once originated from the isolated world of Pegana. Through an intense desire to explore the universe and map out its edges, they set off on the Astral Express and founded the path of trailblazing. It seems pretty straightforward. But what if there was more to it than just this? Maybe Akivili wasn't just traveling for adventure's sake, but was in fact doing the same thing Leto was. You see, a large part of why humanity in Dune were susceptible to a species-ending event was because most of their civilization was concentrated in the area referred to as the known universe. There wasn't any real need to venture beyond it, and with how controlling the past dynasties and Leto's own empire was, humanity was functionally stagnating. In Star Rail, there isn't an all-powerful empire controlling humanity, but there are hints that certain eons want humanity to be under some form of control. Ho-Oh, the Eon of Equilibrium, is hinted to be doing this, Shipe wants all their followers under the banner of harmony, and even Aha has mentioned the cold logic governing the universe. With the reliance of humanity on the eons and paths, perhaps Akavili foresaw the same problem. Now, I won't go so far as to claim Akavili was prophetic and could see the future as Leto could, but perhaps at the very least, they saw humanity's lack of curiosity and adherence or attachment to the eons as a problem. So maybe Akavili, through trailblazing, was trying to achieve the same thing Leto was: the proliferation and expansion of humanity far beyond their known and current boundaries. Of course, Leto only had one approach, which was to create such a controlled environment that humanity couldn't wait to break free once he died, but the outcome would have still been the same. Akavili might have done this to inspire humanity to break away from those that would control them, or at the very least, think about things for themselves. We've seen a few examples of the importance of an individual's personal trailblaze, and often the lesson is really about following your own instinct and belief rather than what others tell you. This is quite the opposite to those who would want to control everything. Sunday is a great example of this. He started off with order and eventually found his own trailblaze path, traveling the cosmos to figure out what is important to him. So what I'm suggesting is that Akavili might have done the same thing Leto Atreides has for humanity. They expanded the horizons of mortals and ensured that they could continue surviving should some threat happen upon the universe. Plus, think about this. Despite Akavili no longer being around, the Nameless still have access to the path of the trailblazing. The more people appear to take up the challenge of the trailblaze, the more empowered the path becomes. In their own way, maybe Akavili, much like Leto, was preparing humanity at the expense of their own life, with Leto ensuring nothing could shackle the human race further. Perhaps this is why Akavili was mysteriously killed off, as pursuing one's trailblaze meant you might not be so reliant on the eons any longer. So while it's not a one-to-one copy, it's certainly possible that both the Golden Path and Akavili's Trailblaze aims to achieve the same thing. Now, if you haven't already figured it out, this theory is a stretch at best, and I really just wanted an excuse to talk about Dune. Despite it being a pretty long shot, it does seem somewhat plausible that the lesson Akavili has tried to impart on humanity is to find your own way in life, rather than follow the direction of others. Sure, you might stumble or fail, but at the very least, it's on your own terms. Maybe that's why Aha likes Akavili so much. They are actually promoting freedom to humanity. Either way, this is just meant as a fun discussion and my attempt at mashing two clearly different universes together. Whether or not it ends up right isn't really important, as at least I got to talk about Dune. Do you know of any other similarities the lore of Star Rail has with other media, or is there any details about Dune I should have talked about? Share them in the comments. Also, if I did get anything wrong about Dune's lore, please excuse them and feel free to correct me. If you found the video entertaining, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.